Hello everybody, John here, the Midnight Paint and Body channel. In this video, we're going to be doing a small repair on a Tri-Coat Pearl finish, and I'm going to show you guys how to do a solvent blend and blend in your clear coat. So what we're working on here this week, guys, 2022 Yukon Denali. Man, this is a beautiful rig. A little different from what I usually have around here. So what we are repairing, a little scrape in the bumper cover here. So not a big deal. We're going to keep this simple. So rather than disassembling this entire front end and repainting this entire bumper cover, we are going to do a spot repair. And we're going to blend off our clear coat, probably here and here. And I'm going to show you guys how to do a basic solvent blend. So that is melting in your clear coat to a blend and then polishing it back. Now that is something you do, you know, in an area like this where it's not super out there. You know, it's not something you do in the middle of a panel. You know, say it's something we would do. Say you were painting this A-pillar and you only wanted to come up to here. We could do, you know, a blend somewhere like that. So that's kind of where you use that. So the color we're working with this is, what is this, WA140X. So it's a Tri-Coat Pearl. So if you're not familiar, the Tri-Coat Pearl is a base color. So it'll be kind of that off-white color. And then it's got a coat of transparent pearl, and then you put your clear coat on, so the 3 steps. So the first thing you'll notice on these, and this is something I always try and document with my years in the trade, you see these trim pieces, bumper covers, door handles, mirrors, are typically not a perfect match. Now, I've heard it all on these guys say, oh, that's because the plastic takes paint different. That's not the case. It's because they're painted separate from the vehicle. These colors, even if you're taking the same paint out of the same can and the same gun, if you paint them piece by piece like that, chances are they are not going to match. They just change so much with all of that pearl. So that is very common. Over the years, I have learned to document that all the time, especially in the collision trade, because we would get, far more often than you would think, people would bring their cars in for repairs. You know, they have these mismatched panels from the factory. They get them back and say, oh, that doesn't match. You try to tell them it didn't match before, they would, you know, argue with you tooth and nail. Oh no, it was perfect. But that's why we would always photograph it. And so anyway, just a little background, I guess. I'm not saying that that's happening on this job, but it's just something to watch out for. Yeah, not really seeing a difference in the rear bumper cover. And in this case, you know, it's only got the small inserts in the handles. But even, you know, at an angle, those inserts and handles look whiter than the vehicle. Anyway, just something to point out. So, I'm just going to get to doing the small repair here. We're basically just going to feather this out, get a little primer on it. And then I'll prep it up for paint a little later today, hopefully. So now on to prepping for our blend. So what we're doing here, guys, I've already sanded the primer spot just with some 400. Now I've got some 1000 grit wet. You don't have to use wet. I'm just using it because it's what I have. I'm going to prep for the blend. So I'm going to sand with 1000 grit up to the edge of the bumper cover here, and then just beyond a little bit, and then I'll show you what we're going to do from there. So we're all masked up in the booth. So pull the camera loose here so you can see the whole vehicle covered up. We have our repair area masked out. So now we're going to prep for our blends. So because we're going to blow off our clear coat here and melt it in, we're going to prep for that. All I use for this is a gray Scotch-Brite pad. Now there are blend agents and creams, and you know, when I worked in production we used to have a stuff in a tube that used with a little water and you scrub that in, but this does the same thing. So we just want a really light tooth in the clear coat. So we want it to just be scuffed enough for whatever we put on there to adhere. And then because we're going to polish it back after, you don't want something that is too coarse to polish either. Same thing down here. We're going to blend it off. Make sure all our edges are sanded. And now we're going to do the soft edge with some tape. I figure we'll go to where that body line is. Roll that back with a little bit more tape if you need to hold it in place. And we'll do the same here. Just do kind of a little envelope kind of deal there. Alright, so that's all there is to it. So I'm going to wash this down with some Final Wash Reducer, get it all cleaned up, ready to paint, and we will go mix our first part of our tri-coat color. So let's mix up our base color for our Abalone White, is what GM is calling it. So one of the risks you run into, guys, mixing really small amounts like this, is it can throw the colors off. Typically, if you mix a larger batch, you're going to have a better chance of a good color match. But paint is expensive. Really expensive. So even at this, just mixing a really small amount, I'm mixing way more than I need. But just because I don't want to mix too small of an amount. So there you have it. So our main layer is just a little bit of an off-white. So we're ready to start spraying. So I have our base color in the gun. I'm going to turn the pressure way down, small spot. So we're going to give this a few coats. So about 10 minutes I'll hit that again. So you need to go with your base color on these tri-coats until you have total coverage, because the top pearl coat doesn't have any coverage characteristics at all. It's super transparent. So 10 minutes, I'll hit that again, probably 3 coats, and then we'll be ready for our pearl. So we'll go mix that next. And then we have white pearl. So that'll be reduced, and then that's what we're spraying over top of our base color. So with our repair area fully covered with our base color, we're ready to add our pearl top coat. So when you put pearl on, you're going to want to go a little farther out than you went with the color. So we'll blend that out just a little past where we put that first coat. So 10 minutes, I'll hit that again, and we will be ready for clear. Alright, so now we are ready for a clear coat. So my first coat of clear, I'm going to just kind of take out a bit. Second coat of clear, I will go a little bit farther, and then I'll show you how we're going to do the blend. Okay, I'm going to show you guys what I do for the blend now. Alright, I don't know if you can see anything here. So basically you're just going to dump out my leftover clear. Leave the gun kind of dirty with clear coat. A little bit of urethane reducer. And that's what we're going to use to blend in our clear. And that is all there is to it. Now we'll let it sit until tomorrow, and we'll polish that back a little bit. So now that we're all unmasked, you can see how that solvent just kind of melts in that blended clear. Now I'm just going to hit that lightly with the polisher. You can see it's a little bit rough on the end. You can probably hear that compared to the regular paint. But I'll just smooth that off a little with the polisher and it'll be good to go. There we go. Plug it in, it'll work better. Well, there you go. So that should be all it needs. Now it's an invisible repair. So I'm just going to finish cleaning this up a little bit, do a little bit of assembly, and we'll have one final look. So there she is, all finished up, guys. So just a quick little video to kind of show you the process of doing a solvent blend, blending off your clear coat. Like I said, there are products for this. There's all kinds of different stuff. There's aerosol cans, there's, you know, blending agents, blend prep agents. I just do it kind of old school, and that's why I'm just kind of showing you guys that, you know, if you're just doing this on your own, you might not have all of that stuff. And also, I'm kind of not really recommending that you want to tackle, you know, blending out a tri-coat pearl and blending out your clear coat, but it gives you an idea what's involved. You know, if you're not an experienced painter, this might not be something you want to take on, but it shows you what's involved at least. So, as always, guys, thanks for checking out the video. I hope it was helpful to somebody or some kind of entertainment value, whatever. And I hope you come back and check out the next one. We'll see you then.